24th of November 2021.
Welcome to the ARIAs.
Here are the nominees for Apple Music Album of the Year.
The ARIA goes to...
From news.com.au.
I'm Andrew Bucklow, and I've got news for you. Well, it's a big night for Australian music. The ARIA Awards are on tonight. Now, if you're not really familiar with them, the ARIAs are kind of like Australia's version of the Grammys, just with a much smaller budget. To celebrate, we're going to chat to the Blue Wiggle himself, Anthony Field, who is nominated for an award tonight. He's going to look back on a previous ARIAs where he spilt a bottle of wine all over some very famous musicians. And he's also going to open up about what life is like as a Wiggle, including all the celebrity guests that come to their shows.
When we played New York, Chris Rock hired out a whole row of seats so he wouldn't be bothered, but all it did was kind of put all the focus on his family, but I understood it.
And just for fun, we're also going to take a look at the 3 most shocking ARIAs moments of all time, including when an Australian Idol contestant got his willy out on stage. What a dick. Well, I thought I'd kick things off with a little bit of info about tonight's ARIA Awards, which are going to be held in Sydney at Taronga Zoo. So, let's start with nominations. Leading the pack is Amy Shark and Genesis Owusu. They've got 6 nominations each. Not far behind them on 5 is a whole bunch of people, including Midnight Oil, Tones and I, Vance Joy, and Budgerah. Now, I'll be honest, I have a bit of a soft spot for Budgerah. He's an absolute legend. If you don't know much about him, he's a 19-year-old from New South Wales who actually auditioned for The Voice back in 2019. Let's have a listen to his audition. Now, unfortunately, none of the coaches actually turned their chair for Budgerah that night on The Voice, but he didn't give up. He released his first song in October last year, which was called Missing You, and it is just bloody lovely.
I've been missing you near me. I've been missing you clearly. Are we strong enough or will it long enough to die freely? For we are turning dust, won't you come see me? I've been missing you.
It's good, isn't it? Now, since then, he's released a whole bunch of other songs. He's landed a record deal in the US, and now look at him. He's nominated for 5 ARIA Awards, including Best Artist. How cool is that? Also nominated tonight is The Wiggles, and I'm joined now by the Blue Wiggle himself, Anthony Field. Anthony, tell me, what are the ARIAs really like? Do they get pretty loose?
They do. Do you know what's amazing? I'm taking my daughter, Lucia. She's 17 years old, and she's going to be able to tell me. I don't know half the acts, but a lot of them grew up with the Wiggles. So people come up to me and talk to me a lot, and I love it. She's the one that's going to be really impressed and tell me who I'm talking to.
So she's kind of like the handler who stands behind the Queen and just points out who everyone is.
Oh, mate, she's a fan of so much Australian music. So the other day I said, I think the like cordials are coming. I like cordials or something. And she said it's the lime cordial or something.
What's your favourite ARIAs memory? Because I'm sure you've been there many times over the years. Is there one that stands out in your mind?
Yeah, a very embarrassing but a brilliant moment. Years and years ago in the 90s, In Excess were in the next table to us, and it was the days when, there was wine flowing, and I went over to say hello because we did a bit of early days in the Cockroaches. We used to tour with In Excess, and in Redfern I lived around the corner from Michael, and I went over to say hello. And when I said hello, I knocked a bottle of wine, the red wine, over the table, and it was terrible. The whole of In Excess scattered, their girlfriends and wives, and it was a funny moment. And years later, I was talking to the Farris brothers, and they remember that moment too, because it was just one of those great ARIA out-of-control moments.
You kind of accidentally made someone the red wine wiggle that night.
Yeah, that's it.
Just seeing as we're on the topic of celebrities, I know the Wiggles get to meet so many A-list stars. Who's surprised you the most out of all the celebs that you've met throughout the years?
Oh, I think Shaquille O'Neal turning up to a Wiggles concert in a red skinny that he had made, especially, and getting up on stage with us. Chris Rock requested a red skivvy so he could wear it. I think it was the Oscars he was hosting. He didn't do that, but we gave it to him anyway. When we played New York, Chris Rock hired out a whole row of seats so he wouldn't be bothered. But all it did was kind of put all the focus on his family. But I understood it. It was very American.
Going back to the ARIAs, the Wiggles have won 15 ARIAs over the years. What happens to all of them? Where do they get kept?
Yeah, they're all around the Wiggle headquarters here. Some of the guys have got them at home. I've given a few away over the years as well, which one of them I gave to our sound man, Alex Keller, because without him, we would never get an ARIA award because he makes the sound so good. So one year I thought, I'm going to give him one of these ones, and he really appreciated it and he deserves it.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a pretty cool thing to show people when they come round. Hey, I've got one of the Wiggles ARIAs. You've been nominated this year for Best Children's Album for Lullabies with Love, and I heard that you've donated all the songwriting credits from the album to someone. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, well, I got to know veteran Brendan Nicolai, and he had testicular cancer, and we got chatting online one day, because I'm a veteran from years ago. He's a war veteran, and we just had this common ground again. And he was really battling the testicular cancer. He's got a family, and we become really great mates or brothers, as from different eras. As the journey went on, and we realised Brendan wasn't going to beat it. It was terminal. We just got thinking about his family, and I just thought I want to give him something that means a lot to me. And what meant a lot to me was writing songs. Brendan got all the songwriting credits on Lullabies with Love, and if we're lucky enough to win the ARIA, that ARIA is going straight to Brendan's family. He's a great Australian. He taught me a lot about life and a lot about how you can die with dignity and thinking of others, because he was always thinking of other people, even though he was in the worst circumstance.
We'll be back in a moment with more from Anthony, who'll reveal what really happens at an adults-only Wiggles gig.
Fruit salad, yummy, yummy.
Anthony, the Wiggles have been so big for so long. I'm wondering, how do people react when they see you walking down the street?
Yeah, it's when people see me walk down the street, they come up, there's always usually a smile on their face, or they're having a laugh because there's the Wiggle guy. It's 99.9% positive. One time in Darwin at McDonald's with the original Wiggles, high school students thought it'd be funny to throw chips at the Wiggles. And that was probably the only time we had to run for cover.
Is that because they wanted to douse you with hot potatoes?
I like it.
What about Wiggles Groupies? Because obviously you're a kids band, but the parents come and see you, and I'm assuming that some of the mums are big fans of you guys. Are there kind of Wiggles mums who have thrown themselves at you over the years?
Well, not really. I think the mums are just more interested in getting their kids, changed and fed and happy. I don't know if we really haven't had that sort of thing happening, So, but maybe with John from the Justice Crew joining us, things might change.
Well, yeah, 100%. Things are looking up for the Wiggles Groupies. You mentioned a new member there. Now, last month, Emma Watkins announced that she was giving up being the Yellow Wiggle after something like 11 years. How hard was that?
Oh, Emma's been wonderful. And, of course, we're all sad to see her go. But we understand that, she wants to focus on the PhD and work with the deaf community, which is amazing.
All the children can try this, and you can sign my name with me. Are you ready? Point your pointer finger. That's E. Then 3
we've been around for 30 years, and I suppose we're constantly evolving. So here's the next 30 years. Of course, Emma's legacy is amazing, and but we are looking forward to the next incarnation of the Wiggles with Sahai and John and Evie and Kelly.
So filling Emma's void is Sahai. Now, she's just 15 years old. I mean, what sort of effect has she had on the group already?
Oh, Sahai, yeah, she's just turned 16, actually. She just had a birthday, and we all sang happy birthday to her. We really meant it because Sahai is a wonderful addition to the group. She brings so much energy and enthusiasm, and her dancing is phenomenal. I'm excited for everyone to see her on tour when we go out with the Fruit Salad TV. She has an amazing story. She's from Ethiopia originally. Her mum took her to an orphanage when she was 6 months old, and she was adopted by Australian parents, and she's a very, very happy person, and she's quite an amazing kid. I'm just excited to see also where we go with Si, because she's phenomenal.
And you're the last remaining original member of the group. How much longer do you want to go?
Oh, mate, music's in my blood, performing, and I'm a musician, so I just love playing music, so I'll go as long as I can.
Speaking of the other originals, I hear that you guys are getting together for like an adults-only tour. You're all going to reunite. What happens at an adults-only gig with the Wiggles?
It's wild. It's wilder than anything you've ever been to. We don't go off the script. We're still the Wiggles. We don't, there's no profanities. And we just play it pretty straight. And there's something really fun about that for 20 to 30 to 40-year-olds coming to the show and meeting them when they were kids. And, of course, there's a lot of, I can just say, atmosphere floating around as well. So they're really getting into Joni Works with one hammer.
Nick Bond is news.com.au's entertainment editor, and he joins me now to run me through the 3 most shocking moments from ARIAs history. Nick, what's the first one?
Well, this was quite the treat for anybody who made it all the way to the end of the very long 2018 ARIA Awards. Rock legend Bob Geldof came out to present the final award of the night alongside the host of the evening, Keith Urban. And Bob was in a very weird mood. He called Keith Jim.
That's not his name.
He dissed Keith's efforts as host, saying he'd been unmemorable all night. And he also said he was only presenting an award because Keith had begged him for help.
Oh, God.
Now, as all this was unfolding, the always polite Keith Urban just smiled and carried on. When it came time to stop insulting Keith Urban and actually read out the nominees, Bob complained that he couldn't read the order cue and then dropped an F-bomb.
Oh, boy. Well, let's have a listen to how the awkwardness played out.
Bob, welcome back to the ARIAs.
Thanks, dude.
You hosted this.
Apparently I did, but...
Memorable experience?
It was at a time when you don't remember these sort of things. They come and go.
Like tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, judging by your performance, yes.
What are you in town for tonight? I haven't even played yet. It's a tough room.
Oh, poor Keith. Okay, what's the second one, Nick?
Well, all these years later, this one is still hard to watch. Madison Avenue were flying high at the 2000 ARIAs with a few hit singles under their belt, but one very, very live performance from singer Shane Coates brought it all crashing down.
Okay.
She struggled from the very first note, and she motioned offstage for a glass of water, which a stagehand then brought out for her mid-performance, which was awkward enough. But she couldn't quite catch a moment to actually take a sip from the water, so she kept picking up the glass of water and putting the glass of water back down. The whole time her vocals were sounding more and more strained and more in need of that glass of water. It's a real car crash performance.
Okay, we can't actually hear her picking up the glass in this audio, but there is a big pause in the middle of the song, so let's have a listen to that. Yeah, she sounded thirsty. Okay, the poor girl. The last one. What's the most shocking ARIAs moment of all time, Nick?
Well, this one's a lesson to everyone. If you're going to party at the ARIAs, just make sure all of your onstage commitments are out of the way first. Now, former Australian Idol contestant Axel Whitehead later admitted that he'd had a few drinks before he went up on stage to present an award at the 2006 ARIAs. You'd never have guessed. He only exposed himself to the audience and simulated masturbation with the trophy that he was meant to be handing out.
Oh, God.
Now, the time delay meant that viewers at the time never saw his antics, but doing all that in front of every powerful person in the Australian music industry was enough for his career to take a serious hit.
Yeah, Axel spoke about the incident on Mark Holden's podcast called Our Idol Archives. Let's see what he had to say.
I just thought it was funny in the moment. Like, I've got this kind of impulsive streak in me, and I don't think I get this rush of adrenaline. I've done it all through my life. I always get myself into trouble. And that was one of those moments. Because I turned to Jabba, the other guy who was hosting. I said, what do you reckon if I flashed a moon on stage? He was like, no, dude, don't do that. I was like, okay. Okay, well, I'll up you then. I'll do the wristwatch and then the little drummer boy on stage and see what happens.
Axl also revealed that his career took a massive hit after he got his knob out, not surprisingly. Here's what he said on that podcast.
The next day afterwards, I'd been working with a bunch of like the way video hits work, we had great relationships with other production companies, touring companies, like you become part of that scene. And I started to call a few people about a week later for a bit of, for a couple of references and just to reach out. Not one person picked the phone up. And I was like, what the?
Oh, no.
What's happened to Axl Whitehead since?
That's a good question. After he showed his white head at the ARIAs, I don't know.
Nick, thank you very much for running me through those awkward ARIAs moments.
Thank you.
Now, if you're keen to watch the ARIAs, they're going to be streamed live on YouTube and broadcast on 9 Now from 7:30pm Australian Eastern Daylight Time tonight. Thanks for listening to I've Got News for You. I'll chat to you again tomorrow. Bye.